Dear Jeremy Kyle, if you believe I am inventing something or I'm making this up, you better document yourself. And to make this clear with you, I bet £200,000 with lawyer Ivan Samson. I promise I will fund £200,000 Ivan Samson Civil Rights Award, or the equivalent in scholarships, in recognition of lawyer Ivan Samson for his outstanding understanding and contribution to the advancement of civil rights and systemic equality. The only condition is that lawyer Ivan Samson has to demonstrate real knowledge and answer a few simple questions concerning the civil rights he claims to know and to represent. On the 3rd of January 1925, Mussolini said that the democratic values have to be found in the Catholic tradition. Then he dismissed the parliament, the political parties, the freedom of press, created Vatican City, made the Catholic religion the religion of state, and persecuted the oppositions as apostates of the faith and enemy of the state. After 100 years, I asked lawyer Ivan Samson if he could name one democratic value that it has ever been a Catholic value in history. I wonder if he could tell how the democratic values have become Catholic legacy without having to quote the fascist racial law of Mussolini, enacted by a dictator on the 3rd of January 1925, as evidence of democracy. I appreciate that the lawyer Ivan Samson could tell the difference between the fascist racial laws and the Nazi racial laws, bringing some light to what many miss in the dark of ignorance, and to clarify for everyone whether after World War II those fascist racial laws were abolished or renewed. Now, I explain the question for everyone and Jeremy Kyle. Before Mussolini, there was no Vatican, and the Vatican was prohibited the public administration of the civil rights of the people because of the alternative system of value of the Church and the regime of intellectual servitude and the moral blackmail they represent, because of the tradition of selling indulgency, privileges and favors, the same as today they're selling civil rights and then expect and demand intellectual sudditance and bribery, blackmail and witch hunt as usual. I would like lawyer Ivan Samson could tell one democratic value that it has ever been a Catholic value in history, especially concerning the freedom of choice and the secular value of justice he claimed to represent. I also like to know why it took a dictatorship to restore the Vatican. The democratic values, like the freedom of choice and the secular value of justice, are the result of the emancipation from the absolute power of the Church, and these values have never been Catholic values but Catholic heresy to be persecuted throughout history and last by Mussolini. Could you name one democratic value that it has ever been a Catholic value in history? Could you tell how the democratic value have become Catholic legacy without having to quote the fascist racial law enacted the 3rd of January 1925? Then I like to underline for the lawyer Ivan Samson that especially the secular value of justice, especially the emancipation from the divine justice, is the exact reason why the ancient Roman used to call the Christian with the name of uncivilized barbarians and terrorists. And this doesn't make me a communist, but makes them Romans from Jerusalem. So I send you the reports and the witnessing of the English police and solicitor and more public officers concerning European citizens that become paperless in England. About this matter, the European Union sent lawsuit to Italy for the violation of civil rights on the ground of the letters of the Italian consulate and the witnessing of the English police, the solicitor, and more public officers. And this story was also in the news in Italy, but the prosecutor said it has never happened. From lawyer Ivan Sampson, I like to know if it is the Holy Cross in the courtrooms to make people paperless and to transform the perjury of public officers into acts of devotion and career opportunities. I like lawyer Ivan Sampson could find one professor or a student from Oxford and Cambridge to answer the question. Since they are so well educated, I like they could quote from their school book the fascist racial law enacted the 3rd of January 1925. Could they? I wonder if they are 100% selected idiots with no exception, or it was the number and the conformism to make them Democrats and to claim to represent individual differences and the free world. Could they tell how the democratic value have become Catholic legacy without having to quote the fascist racial law enacted the 3rd of January 1925 as a sign of democracy? Or they are just obedient like parrots and would do whatever to please their master? I wonder, from lawyer Ivan Sampson, if they could distinguish good and evil at all, with their claim that the democratic values would be Catholic legacy, without being able to tell any of this democratic value of Catholic origin, or they are just 100% selected idiots with no exception. But I understand they feel they have the rights to do their recommendation in the name of their alternative system of value, and as consequence, whatever idiot has the rights to feel honest with the recommendation of the bishop for diploma and degree they never had, while the other, the local, cannot have confirmation of their true academic career from state university, become paperless and are persecuted as terrorists for their claim to have rights not to be the impostor. Finally, but not less important, I like to address the Holocaust survivor, the Senator Liliana Segre, today sitting in the Italian Parliament. In fact, she is the best cover-up for the fascist racial laws. And with the symbol of their double standard hanging from the walls, they disown the fascist experience that is the only reason to justify them as Democrats in that parliament, vanishing people and opposition paperless into thin air. As consequence, I like to invite lawyer Ivan Sampson to contact the senator and ask her if she was persecuted because of the fascist racial laws enacted the 3rd of January 1925, or she had to wait 14 years later for the Nazi racial laws enacted in Italy late October 1938. You may ask the senator how many Italian people have been persecuted before her and how many after her until today. You may also ask his son, the lawyer. And since the Nazi racial law have been abolished in 1945, also including those enacted in Italy in 1938, I like the lawyer Ivan Sampson could ask the senator Liliana Segre to tell the day the fascist racial law enacted the 3rd of January 1925 have been abolished if she could. In fact, the fascist racial law enacted the 3rd of January 1925 have never been abolished but renewed in 1949 after the end of the war, and these racial laws are the only reason to justify the presence of the Vatican today, distributing civil rights and favor to whatever idiot meets their requirement, and their claim that the democratic value would be Catholic legacy to trade like indulgency. In fact, nobody would ever be able to tell any of these democratic values of Catholic origin, not without having to quote the fascist racial laws enacted by a dictatorship. And for the Democrats, the Holocaust is not ended yet. Dear lawyer Ivan Sampson, your ignorance concerning civil rights is second only to the best egghead Mandarin professor from Oxford and Cambridge, but, democratically speaking, you can always try to answer the question. Ask the Mandarin from Oxford and Cambridge to help you. They are multicultural, multi-ethnic, anti-racist, very well-educated Democrats claiming to represent the individual differences, diversity, and the free world. Ask them the difference between the fascist racial laws and the Nazi racial laws, bringing some light to what many miss in the dark of ignorance, and to clarify for everyone whether after World War II those fascist racial laws were abolished or renewed. Ask them to answer the £200,000 Lawyer Ivan Samson Civil Rights Award. Until then, you can continue to claim the democratic values are Catholic legacy and call yourself a true Democrat, really concerned about civil rights, like the honorable mandarins of your teacher. Dear Jeremy Kyle, you are concerned about religion and the lawyer Ivan Samson morality. In evidence, they are proud supporters of the racial law they represent so well. I wonder if lawyer Ivan Samson was honest. I wonder why he doesn't lawsuit his university for the poor teaching and Mickey Mouse degree, just like Pok Wong did. She also won the case and £60,000 refund without a legal fight. But, just to make the point, I would ask Oxford and Cambridge concerning the civil rights of the English and the European people becoming paperless at home. Or is it freedom of speech and the freedom of choice to make the local people paperless? With best regards, Luca Benatti.